Welcome, 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 everyone. My name is Nadia, and I am so thrilled to be leading this conversation with you today. If you were with us last week, you would have seen Miss J host and introduce me to you for the first time. And now here I am to take the reins, and she has left me some big shoes to fill. She's a tremendous leader in the community and continues to create space for those of us who are trailing behind. And I'm very grateful to her and, of course, to the Love Bay Radio family here. It is Afrobeats, it is music, it is talk. We do everything so that you can find your home and you can hear voices and see faces that are familiar to you and really begin to fall in love more and more and more deeply with your culture and share your culture as we celebrate the love of African ness throughout the diaspora and throughout the world. So welcome and thank you so very much for joining us. I cannot wait to introduce our guest to you a little later. But before we get into that, we're actually going to talk a little about the things that are going on in the world. What's going on out there in the world? All throughout December 2024, we are looking at collaboration and why collaboration is important, whether you have a nonprofit or a for-profit organization. And so we want to talk about a specific type of corporation and collaboration, which is called South-South cooperation. Have you heard of South-South cooperation? If you've heard about it before, comment below and let me know. Yes, Nadia, I have heard about South-South cooperation before. But South-South cooperation is when the global South gets together. So if you think about the way how the map of the world looks, developed countries, the ones that we believe are doing better economically and socially and whatnot, they're the global north. And they tend to stretch across the upper hemisphere, northern hemisphere of our planet. And for those of us in developing countries who are now trying to, elevate our people and find new ways to do things, we tend to be in the global south. And did that happen on purpose? I don't know, but it cannot be a coincidence. And so South-South cooperation is when countries who are in the global south get together and find ways to do really good work with one another and to be able to support one another. And I want to highlight one of those stories for you. I thought it was pretty cool when I first read about it. But did you know that in 2019, that Cuba was actually a part of helping fight against the Ebola outbreak? Did you know that? And so Cuba was able to support the African countries where the most recent 2019 Ebola outbreak occurred. And they were able to create, first of all, medication, infrastructure, way how the medication could be transported and supported, training for doctors and nurses. They also sent doctors and nurses over to help. I mean, who knew? Did you know? Tell me if you knew that before. And while you're doing that, go ahead and do some more research for yourself on lots of different examples of South-South cooperation and the way how the global South is working together. I have so many more examples for you that are going to come up throughout the month. So make sure that you are here on Community Conversations every single Sunday at 5 p.m. And we'll be talking a little bit more about some of these examples. So in the response that Cuba gave to Ebola, they actually were able to help bring people into Havana so that, heads of states could meet and decide how exactly they were going to approach the situation. Like I said, they provided training and their experts also did follow-up missions over to various countries in Africa to make sure that we were able to continue to stave off that infection. So do some research. And if you see some more cool South-South cooperation things in the news or, online, drop them below, drop a link, right? Because that's what we're here to do. We're here to share knowledge so that we can all live and love and grow together. Now, I want to take this time to introduce you to our guest who is on with us today. Before I do that, though, I am going to bring up Miss J, who is back with us for her final week. Miss J, how are you? Are you here with
Hey,
us?
hey,
Yes.
hey. Look at you, girl, all up in the chair, hosting with the mosting. I love it. I love it. Hey, everyone, how are you? I'm so glad to be back for my final show, but not gone forever. You're going to catch me on Thursdays on my new show, Business Weekly. Why? Because here at Afrobeat Music Talk Radio, we talk all things. We are raising the bar. We are opening the lines. We're making sure that you have a platform and a voice to talk to. Nadia, it's so good to see you. You're doing such an amazing job, and I love the topic for today.
Thank you. You know what? There is so much that we were able to do in cooperation with one another in such a short space of time. I
Yes.
mean, you see Jay and me now, you would think we've been sisters from, the
Another
same
mister.
mister for
Yes,
years.
honey.
Yes.
Yes, no,
And
definitely.
yeah, we connected because of a collaboration. I don't know if you remember how we met.
Yes.
But one of your clients was doing a live interview on Instagram and she had the two of us on. And I think at some point we just started talking to each other on the live.
We just extra out. She wasn't even relevant. I can't even remember who did it.
It was Carrie. Sorry, Carrie.
Over message. Carrie, we love you. No,
But
definitely. Hmm.
yeah, it was such a good example for all of us to follow if we're in for-profit or nonprofit organizations,
Yeah.
that when you do find other individuals or organizations where your values align, you have that same purpose, mission, drive to do real work in the world, open that door and allow that work to flourish and to grow together so that other people are helped in the process. Yeah.
100%. 100%. Let me tell you, the topic that she's going to be discussing today definitely reels that we've been talking about collaboration, and we're like, why can't we get it off the ground? Why can't our communities get it off the ground? Why is this so hard just to make something happen? But we did on several occasions, and I was introduced to an amazing organization that Nadia supports, and fell in love with it. And I wouldn't have seen that if I didn't have a chance to speak with such a great person. So you know what? We're going to continue seeing us on each other's show. We don't plan to stop. We're going to show y'all how this is done, honey. This is what we do down here in Love Bay. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you, Miss J. And thank you so much for trusting me with the path that you've continued to forge here on Love Bay, because it is music, it is talk, it is that Afro beat, to get us in the right groove and everything. It is everything here that our community needs to be able to grow and thrive together. And thank you for passing the baton.
You are going to do an amazing job. And, I'm going to be here for this last show, enjoying the interview and putting in my 2 cents. And you know what? We just have to remind ourselves why we do what we do. We're here to help you. We're here to give you all a voice. Here on Community Conversations, it's always going to be about the tough topics, the local topics, the global topics. I couldn't find a better person or refer a better person who's worldly in knowledge, but very, very realistic in what we're trying to fight and what we're facing. And we're just happy that Love Biz is giving us an opportunity to do that right here on this platform globally. So what's next? Enough about us. You are yes.
I could sing your praises all day, but you're right. We have to talk about the beautiful Cynthia Jurado.
Yes.
Now, we say Jurado, but I know we have listeners from Spanish speaking countries, so do not come for me. I know that it is Jurado, but for now, we are going
roll the R, girl. Roll the
R. I know you're going to tell me, what are you doing? You got to get it right. So I got it, but we are going with Cynthia Jurado because in Toronto, that's just how her name has been pronounced, and she's just come to, embrace the Torontonian version of her Spanish name. But Cynthia joins us from Estillo Salon. where they make your beauty dreams come true. Now, we're going to be talking today about how Cynthia and her partner, who isn't here with us, Stehanie, were able to move from Montreal and start working together in a mall as hairstylists. And then realizing that they actually worked together pretty nicely and decided, hey, why don't we start our own salon? And they opened up at 1828 St. Clair Avenue West. So that is St. Clair Avenue and Old Weston Road if you are in the Toronto area in Ontario. And they're able to provide you with so many different services. My daughter, my 10-year-old, goes to Cynthia's to get her hair done.
Nice.
It is our official spot. And you know, one of the things that I mentioned is it's not just about how well they do here there, but for me to go and to feel safe and have my daughter there and know she's going to be treated really nicely and whatnot. It's a great, fantastic experience. But over 1 decade, these women have been working together. And, you know, there are lots of things that are said about women trying to work together, you know, and there are lots of ways that we are put down. So we wanted to bring you real life, actual examples of successful long-term collaboration and cooperation between Cynthia and her partner in crime, I would say, because they're like sisters, you know, Stehanie, who isn't with us. And so I'm going to bring on stage Cynthia, and we're going to talk a little bit about how she managed to drive this level of success in her partnership. Cynthia, how are you?
Hi. Hello. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
My name is Cynthia. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great.
Is your J and H? Is it Jurado?
Yes, it's Jurado.
See, girl, talk to me. Okay, I'm talking all of this. And you know, Nadia, you speak Spanish, so I don't understand why you're fussing up with these words and you speak Spanish. Like, girl, I just know some of the words, honey. Yes.
I'm just letting people know, you know, she'll respond to you. She's very kind. If you say Jurado or Jurado, she will respond. Right, Cynthia?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
She's like, as long as you pay with me, I'll respond.
No, Cynthia, you and your partner in your hair salon business, you guys have been together for quite a while. You've seen one another through children and changes in your family. And give us a little bit of overall what that has just been like for you.
Okay, so we've been working together for about 14 years now. And what we've created is kind of like a family. You know what I mean? Like just the word collaboration to me, it just kind of means like teamwork. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So when I think about it, I just think like just working together. Like I see my family kind of like as a business, but not really like a business. Like it's kind of cold to say that, but it's kind of run like a business. You know, you have 2 people at the head, and then you have the, you know, the little workers or whatever, you know, your family. So
you call them the little workers.
Little kids, yeah. They got chores to do. We put them to work.
They do have chores to do. So basically, I run my business kind of like that way, like in my family. You know, like you said, Stehanie's like my sister. And we work together and we try to create this space where it's like a safe space where you can come in and you can feel like, you know, great and leave looking great and fabulous. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Tell us about the early days. Tell us about the struggles that you guys went through and how you worked together to get through them.
So basically, me and Stehanie, we ended up meeting at a hair salon. She had been new from Montreal. She had moved here, and I was new in the salon that we were working. And I just really liked her work ethic. It's like I would come in, my boss trusted me to open, and he trusted her to close. So we were in there. There was lots of people, but it was just like we kind of just saw eye to eye with each other. You know, we had a lot of similarities. I just really liked her. And a lot of people in the salon were just like, oh, don't talk to her. She's rude or she has attitude, you know? And I was like, well, I kind of like that. I like that she's a little spicy, you know? Mm-hmm. So we just became friends. And because of that, I was just like, you know what, let's try to have something of our own, you know? And we were able to just, from the little bit that we knew of each other, we were able to just open something really small. I didn't want to go big, you know, because you don't want to go big when you're starting something. You just want to take like baby steps.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, we opened a little salon just on the weekend in the flea market,
Mm-hmm.
and in that, just getting to know each other more, you know.
Yes.
Someone's
Just
proud of you.
Yeah,
oh,
thank you, Alejandra.
Alejandra. Cynthia put it right too. I'm like, girl, I'm speaking this language all up
oh,
and
she's another
through.
entrepreneur too. That she's
Right.
doing nails as well.
Shout out Alejandra with the nails. Yes, honey. Love
Yes,
that.
I love that. So you mentioned one that you saw something in her that was familiar to you. You felt like you guys shared a work ethic. You also mentioned that you analyzed her for yourself. Other people had their opinions of her, but you went with your gut and your own analysis, right?
Right.
And then you mentioned that you guys had a similar outlook. You were both ready to start small and grow together, right? So I'm just gonna, as we talk, I'm just gonna pull out some of the themes for those who are now starting out. You know, they're feeling like they're not quite sure. Maybe they're having a chat with someone and they don't know if they should collaborate with them or not. And they're just trying to feel their way through, you know, red flags, green flags, and whatnot.
It's like Tinder.
Swipe yeah, right. Exactly, right? Who are you swiping?
Ooh, that one looks like it's promising. Like doing taxes, accounting, payroll. Call me.
Absolutely. Now, to Miss J's point, Cynthia, what was something you think that Stehanie had that helped fill a gap for you, and that you had that filled a gap for her?
Well, when I looked at Stehanie, like she just had like a lot of leadership skills. She was really caring. She was independent. And she was like courageous, just in the fact that it was like she was ready to take this step with me. Like she hardly even knew me, you know, like I hardly even knew her. But just working in the couple months that we were together, like we would do each other's clients. It was like nobody else was there. People were there, but it was just only us too. So we just had like a real like sister connection. And then branching off and opening our own little space, just learning more about her, like how compassionate she is, you know, how caring she is about her clients, and she will just give her whole heart, you know. And I really like that, like about her, because I'm kind of like the same way. So what she isn't, I am, you know. So we kind of complete each other. It's like a marriage. Like I've been married to her for like 14 years. So,
yes, honey.
And all the pain. We disagree, you know, and it's okay. Like she's very strong in her opinion about certain things, and so am I. So I'm not going to back down. So we'll just be like, you know what, we're just going to agree to disagree, and it's like, hey, done the topic. Let's talk about something else.
Okay, so let's talk about that a little more, because we don't want people to walk away thinking that collaboration is always rosy, you know, that you're always in agreement. You know, I was on a team, and I think after about the third month, I started to feel like, wait a minute. Anytime someone gives a suggestion, everyone else just says, sounds good. And I thought, do we never disagree? Like, I'm not sure.
What? Jumping off a building with no type of protection?
Sounds good, right?
That's great.
So we want people to know, you know, one, that disagreements are not just gonna happen. They need to happen, right? If we're actually going to build solid together. But let's talk about how you guys deal with it. So you gave us a little bit. You said, you know, you're both, you know, pretty strong in what you want. You know why you want what you want, but you're not getting the point across necessarily. But you're able to agree to disagree, move on, and keep it going. Tell me a little bit more about that.
I think it's more like a respect issue, where I respect her, she respects me. So we don't like it's like a boundary, you know what I mean? Like she respects my beliefs and her beliefs. Like I said, we're totally different. So when it comes to certain issues, yeah, like sometimes I'll have to back down and be like, you know what, I'm gonna listen to what you have to say, and once you're done doing your thing or whatever, I'm gonna calmly tell you like my side, and let's see how we can move forward.
Yeah, yeah. So we're talking about communication skills. We're talking about the ability to read the room because you're talking about emotional management on both sides, right? We're talking about, the fact that we need to be good listeners, right? Not just talking over each other, but both actually listening, right? Thank you, Janice, who is saying that Cynthia and Stehanie are two women to admire. Yes, their story is absolutely inspirational. Thank you, Janine. I'm sorry,
I was
Janine.
about to say, girl, you're just talking about names today.
My brain is in two languages right now. Okay. But yeah, so there are all of these ways that you were talking about how you were able to resolve conflict and still be in a wholesome relationship, right? So let's make sure, we want you guys, as you are developing your own partnerships, to acknowledge that things don't have to feel great and look great all the time. We have to work through, the ups and the downs to get to 14 years, right? Now, what would you do differently now that you're looking back? What are some things that you might change in that beginning part of your collaboration?
I don't know what I would really do different. I feel like we had a really good start from the beginning. Like we just gelled together well. Like when it came to everything, we were just 50-50 with everything. Like even all of a sudden unexpected things. It's like, oh, the electricity, we needed to fix the electricity. And it was like, okay, well, girl, this needs to get done. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what we could have did differently, because I feel like every step that we took together, it just made us like more successful. You know what I mean? Because we just had like really good communication skills with each other and respect,
I think there's, to your point there, I mean, we're talking about those skill sets, but we're going to keep peeling away, because you know what? You're doing something right and you just don't know what it is, because you're doing it for so long, so right. So, to somebody else hearing you right now, they're just like, okay, that's such a great communication skills. And I have a collaboration. I'll be 14 years deep. Let's dig a little harder.
I guess trust and commitment to each other.
That's it. How about when you're making decisions? So let's talk about decisions, right? Because as you said, there's times where you two were kind of going at it till you had let's agree to disagree on this situation or revisit it in the future. Walk us through a bit of the process in terms of what you had to deal with when you came to making a decision about the direction of the company, for example.
Sorry.
That's okay. I tend to do that. I like to disarm all my guests. I throw the big questions and I say, you know what? It just gets you thinking, because it happens to all of us. We get so comfortable, we don't even realize we have a magic formula. And you have one clearly. 14 years in partnership. I mean, I'm only on with Nadia for like 5 minutes before I tell her about her life. No, I'm joking. I love Nadia. But think about it. Just give yourself a moment to really think about when you have to make a decision about a company, whether it's finances, operations, whether it's marketing, advertising, promotion, hiring people. What do you think are some of the things that you consider when you get into those conversations?
Wow.
I am getting stumped, speechless of the year. I think this is like my 40th person.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't even know how to answer that.
Do you typically have meetings? Maybe you have. I'll maybe run something.
Yeah, for sure. We
definitely. Right, so let's start there. So you have a meeting.
We definitely have meetings where we talk about, okay, what are we going to do this coming year? What are we going to do moving forward. Just recently was like our anniversary, so it's like, okay, let's go out. You know, we constantly have like I said, we're like a married couple, so we're constantly just in each other's lives.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Do you
so it's like,
find that the
okay, so
personal
she has
process?
That's it. Yeah, I was gonna say that's interesting to pull out that you guys don't have this strong wall between your professional and your personal, that you guys are participating in one another's lives. At what point did that happen? Were you guys going out and hanging out and then decided to work together? Were you working and then
well, we met
started
at
to
the
work?
work. Well, we met at the workplace. Then we started going out, and obviously we liked each other. So we're just like, hey, like, I really like the way you work. Like, you're just who you are. Like, your passion, and that just kind of helped,
Yeah.
basically.
Who proposed to whom? Who
Yeah, I was about
decided
to
to start a
say.
business? Yeah.
Who swiped left?
It
Yeah.
was
Or
me.
right?
I
I
told
don't
her
know.
it was me because she wasn't from here. So
Right.
because she wasn't from here, and I knew the flea market that we were going to, and I knew that that was like it's kind of like a big community center where everybody from the neighborhood would go there. So I was like, girl, don't worry. Everybody who's anybody comes to this flea market. You know what I mean? It's gonna work. Just trust me, you know?
Yeah. So
And
in
she, like
terms
I
of
said, she
that,
was
like,
courageous that she
Mhm.
did this, took the step forward with me.
yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms of those elements that we talked about, you had local knowledge that she didn't have. You felt like
Right.
she had leadership that was on par with yours. So these are ways that you guys were able to fill those gaps in for each other pretty early. So you had a friendship from your first workplace, and then that developed into your working partnership. Um, for the ladies, right? Um, what would you say about allowing the mix of the two versus having that strong separation? Oh no, Stehanie is my work friend. She doesn't come over, we don't go to each other's kids' parties. We don't do that. She's just at work. What advice would you give about that crossover?
Um, I think there's been times where it's like, okay, I hang out with you all the time, so I kind of need a break. You know what I mean? Because we're always together. You know what I mean? We're probably more together with our each other than our families sometimes.
Mm.
So yeah, sometimes we do need a break from each other in that sense where it's like, okay, where, and then sometimes it's like, okay, I miss you. I miss you. Like, we need to hang out. Like, even though we hang out every day, it's like, oh, I still want to hang out with you. But it's like, oh, I need a break again.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And that goes back to those boundaries and that respect that you talked about before.
right.
Yeah, yeah. Now let's talk about. So now we are, these were the beginnings, and the kind of inner workings of how you got to, be in collaboration and partnership with your business partner. And over the years, you've done lots of work in your community. I love the feeling of sitting in the salon and people are going to the bus stop. They just open the door to say hi.
Yeah.
They're not booking an appointment. They don't, they don't have anything going on that day in the salon, but they're not going to just walk by. They have to stop in and say hello to whoever is there. People
Right.
passing by and bringing them juices, just hanging out, right? And
Yeah.
and
I want to
showing
go where they're bringing me juice.
Yeah.
I
right?
need the address.
Yeah. And so let's talk about some of that community work that you guys have been involved in. We were able to work together to support Looking Good and Feeling Fabulous with the Olive Branch of Hope. Thank you. You did my hair. My hair was looking good.
Yeah. Fun. That was a lot of fun.
Yes, right. And also a lot of fun volunteering. And I know you've done some work with the bingo hall that is in your area. So talk to us a little bit about when you guys partner outside of your organization. How do you decide who you're partnering with? How do you decide what you're willing to participate in?
Well, it's really like what it is. Like, I think with the bingo hall, it was about women. It was March, so they had the Women's Day. So for us, we're women, we work together, so we're always trying to empower other women, other little businesses and stuff like that. So because they had this collaboration there, it was all women's businesses that were volunteering their services or whatever it was at the bingo. And we got to meet with other people, and it was really cool. But it's just really picking what values are your values, what you agree with, like, you know what I mean, that goes along with what you represent.
And with the Olive Branch of Hope, how did that come about for you?
It's just communicating, talking, and finding out, like, I met you, and you reached out to I think it was one of your friends.
I think it was Vinette, actually. Thank you, Vinette. And it was actually through Vinette that I found you originally. So she was the massive connector there that pulled that together. So what was that conversation like between you and her, and what made you guys say yes?
Well, yeah, the fact that it's helping women. And, we, especially us, we deal with a lot of people and their problems, their issues. They come, they sit down, they feel relaxed. It's like a place where we listen and we don't judge. You know what I mean? So basically, oh my God, sorry, I'm like a little tongue-tied. When she told us that we were going to be helping women and doing something that we love by doing their hair, we're like, oh, for sure. This sounds awesome. We're down. We're going to do it. Yes. Count us in. Yes.
Yeah. And, we've talked on other occasions about, when people are in your chair, in the salon, and some of the issues that they share with you. And now with Olive Branch of Hope, for example, when you work with women who've had breast cancer, they're either preparing to cut their hair or their hair has finally grown back. I know you're getting to work with a charity that focuses on that. For you as a person, doing your job, running your business, working in your community, what is it like for you when people trust you with their stories?
It feels really good, like that they can come and they can feel like you're just like building really long-term relationships with these people, and you know what I mean, like they confide in you. You're like a confident, they confide in you, they tell you their issues, their problems, and you go there and you make them, you point out what's beautiful about them, and you really work on that, and just help them to see like not just their outside beauty but their inside beauty.
Yeah.
Okay, girl, is that on the menu? Like, you have that on the price list? Inner beauty, extra $45. No, that's good. That's really. I mean, most people, most human services tend to have that element, right? Bartenders, coaches, stylists, but you underestimate, people who are not actually trained to do it, but you've built over 14 years, you build that acumen because you have the ability to just listen and say, yeah, girl, while you just pulling out that 60-second, you getting that lace front tight, you know what I'm saying? So it's good. How do you feel though, in terms of when it comes to those times when you are hearing, oh, Cynthia says chili. She said, oh, she did it like this, and she gave you a heart sign. I did that for you, girl. I repped you. So when you get what has hearing these conversations help you and your partner to do in terms of maybe elevating your business or evolving it in a different way, or maybe not? I'm just give.
Yeah, it definitely, like I said, like just hearing these stories and making our space feel comfortable for people to come in and be able to share it, because there's two of us. They get two different perspectives on whatever their issue could be, right? Because I mean, we're great, we work together, but we're always kind of like on opposite sides of what it is. So because she's lived a different life from me, and so whatever the issue is, it's like, oh great, you got two really good sides for your advice that you needed, to hear.
Perspective, yeah.
Yeah,
Perspective. That's
really
good.
creating that safe space, like I said, like
Mhm.
where unless you want us to tell you, we'll tell you. You know what I mean? Like, or we'll listen, but it's like, okay, do you want to hear what I have to say now? Okay.
That's a girl moment. That's what I like to say, girl, child. Do you
Yeah.
want me to tell you what's up?
Yeah.
Or am I just hearing?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So
100%.
in that, Cynthia, you're talking about building long-term relationship with your clients, and I'm pulling out kind of like Miss J said, because when we do something so well for so long, we don't always realize what it is that we're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
So I want to make sure we break it down so that others who are, kind of now coming along can learn from the experience. So you're talking about the importance of building a long-term relationship, right? So with your clients, it's not just about wham bam, thank you, ma'am, come get your hair done and leave kind of thing. And you're talking about your ability to stop and listen, your ability to withhold your judgment and unless it's invited, and for the both of you to be able to offer two sides without one person needing their side to be, dominating the other side.
Right.
And I think that those are really critical skills that you've built over the years. And I'm not sure, chicken or the egg, did you build it first with clients and take it over to your work with your business partner, or, which way did that go? But those are really critical skills that we all need if we're going to build successful collaborations that are going to last 10 plus years. Now, what are the reasons that you personally think the two of you have stayed together for so long? You're friends, you work well together, those are like the checklists. How
Mm-hmm.
does Stehanie make you feel? How do you think you make her feel? What do you think are the deeper reasons that have helped you to stay together?
Damn,
Um,
girl, you all up in their business. I like it. Let's go, girl. Spill the tea,
hello.
honey.
Um, I guess we just have unity.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? We have that unity. And that's kind of like what Estillo stands for. Like, where we're two faces, but one mind. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And you can't have like unity without you and I, right? Just like
Hey,
community.
you gotta let them know.
So I just feel like that unity that we have, it gives us like this longevity, in the business. So I
Yes,
don't know.
yes.
Well
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
And we just take pride in like what we do, you know?
Yeah. There's another thing there. Two minds, one body, right? That's what you said.
Yes.
Two bodies, one mind. Sorry. I don't want to mess up with your
I
analogy.
was to say you're killing the quote there, honey.
I'm so sorry. But you're two different people, but you're unified in that vision. You're unified in the pride that you share in the work that you're doing. But you guys have been through a lot on your own over those years, right? Your personal lives, your family lives, in 14 years. I mean, I don't even need to know what the list is. We just know a lot can happen in 14 years. Talk to the people who feel as though that other person has to stay the same in order for me to be
Mm.
able to work with them long term. Talk to the people who don't manage and handle change well. As you guys have gone through all of these changes and you stay together, what is the constant thread that keeps it going?
I get change, change is the common thread. Like us changing, us evolving is basically what keeps us going, because it's a business that keeps growing, it keeps on changing. So if you're not changing and you're not evolving and you just kind of want to stay like the same,
Yeah.
you're not going to grow. You know what I
Right.
mean? Not going to be any growth. And yeah, that's basically what it is, that you do have to change. And you got to
Mhm.
change with the times and change with the people and change with like everything. It's always
Yes.
changing.
And Chili is chiming in and saying it's also because you guys have respect for each other as friends, as stylist partners, as companions, that respect runs deep. But, I want to echo what you're saying. Change is important, right? We not only, we don't have to suffer change, right? We can drive change. We can actually be really intentional about, making sure that change is happening in a way that we can manage. We can respond to the changes, in our community, in our clients, and in one another's lives, and keep that fluidity. And I'm going to, toot Miss J's horn here. If you are looking for, thank you, Nikasha, is that how I pronounce that one?
Yes.
Yes. We love Estillo Salon as well. But if you are looking to implement strategic change within your business, if you are looking to drive change, if you're looking to effect change in your community, you need to hit up Beautiful Women Society over here with Miss J. Am I pointing the right way? That's where she is. Okay.
I do hear and I listen to people's problems. No, I don't. I'll appeal for that.
Absolutely, because if we're talking to entrepreneurs who are afraid of change, we're like,
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe you should get a job, right? Because entrepreneurship is a lot of tumbles and turns and ups and downs and, twists all over the place. And you've got to be prepared for that. So, Cynthia, connecting that back to your early responses, and some of the things that you saw in Stehanie and that she was able to see in you that builds that longevity. We're also talking about people who are happy, excited about change. Like you talked about her being courageous to, come with you in this crazy idea to start your own salon. You have to be really excited and ready to embrace change, create change, push forward with change as much as you can. Thank you for that.
Change with the times, with the community.
Exactly. You got to keep it moving, right? We're not here to stagnate, right? We're not, as entrepreneurs, we're not putting in 40 years. Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. All right.
I think there's something you just said there that speaks to a question that I have for you is when you think about that perception of I'm an entrepreneur or I'm an employee, give people a clear understanding. What are the real differences in being an entrepreneur versus an employee?
I guess the freedom to be your own boss, to create your own atmosphere, to create your own space. You know what I mean? Of what you want. Being a employee, it's whatever your boss tells you. It's like, okay, do this, do that. This is what we're doing, but I enjoy having my own, I can come and go when I want, know?
Yeah, it's always the case, but it does, and I always like to add to be mindful that when you are your own boss, you still have to work like your own employee, right? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, you still got to go in and put them 40 hours plus, right? People love that freedom until they look at their bank account come into the month and that freedom gave them $5. And then they want to know where the boss at. Where that job be at again? You're saying exactly that. Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to mention that, Miss J, because and listen, wherever you are in life, whatever you need to do for your family, do what you got to do. But if you are in that shift, right? If you are an employee, but you're in that space where you are no longer satisfied, right? And you feel like you want that freedom to create, go for it. We are here for you. But one of the things that, some people, they want the freedom to not have to think, right? They want the freedom to not be the decision maker. So before you jump in on this entrepreneurship boat in these rough waters, know where you are, know where your mind is, right? Yes, absolutely. Now, Cynthia, for you and Stehanie working together, and you've worked with these other organizations. We mentioned the Bingo Hall and what they did for Women's History Month, your work with the Olive Branch of Hope, supporting women of African descent who are living with and beyond breast cancer. What are some challenges that you guys have faced when trying to collaborate with other businesses?
I guess just collaborating with other businesses, like just maybe the communication's off, or just not them putting 100% effort into what it really is. Things kind of just not kind of falling through. Um, Partnerships, it can be collaborations. It's not always easy. That's why I always say, like, you have to take like baby steps when you're doing something like that, because you don't know what you're getting into, because it's not easy, basically.
Yeah, it is hard, right? Because it's not just your businesses, right? You're two different people trying to get something done. And so, I want others to see that you fell in perfectly with Stehanie. It doesn't mean that every collaboration you try with every person is going to have that, right? So what are some of the differences you would say? You talked about communication and things falling through. What are some of the differences that you would say between your work with Stehanie and when you guys try to work with someone else?
Like I said, it was just, there wasn't a right balance working with them. Just things didn't work out right. Like, there wasn't like those meetings that you have where it's like, okay, we're on the same page. We weren't on the same page. Right. So that's why it was just like, okay, you know what? I think I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to go with this idea. Sorry, I have to like back out because it's all over the place. It's messy. Right. I don't really think you have an idea of what exactly you want in this collaboration. Like, I think you're just kind of putting it out there, but you're not comfortable with what you're putting out there, your brand.
Right. And that's hard, right? That's hard sometimes to actually be able to say that to people, right? To give them that feedback that may be a little tough to hear. Yeah. That you may have come up with something, but you're not quite there yet. And so when we talk about collaboration, it's not just what can I get from them, but what are you bringing to the collaboration? So are you communicating effectively? Are you making sure that you're following through? If you can't follow through for any reason, again, are you updating? Are you building trust? Are you building for the long term? All of these are things that Cynthia is sharing with us that would help us to build and deliver and sustain successful collaborations. Cynthia, I want to thank you so very much for joining us today and having this conversation.
So much.
Yes, thank you for your honesty. We won't tell your partner all the things you've said. We will keep it right here on this show. Shh, nobody will ever know.
She knows what I've said. I tell her.
No, for sure. I'm sure she's going to watch the replay just to make sure. Represented her well.
Yes, please.
Yeah, pleasure having you, and I wish you the best in Estillo. How come you don't say Estillo? I thought isn't that the way you say Estillo?
Estillo.
Estillo.
Yeah, so it's one L, so it is low, but they wanted to be, their spunky cells, and they put the extra L in.
Yeah, we put the extra L.
I used to go to school with people named Castillo, and that's how it was spelled Castio. So that's why I was like, okay, she's saying her own company wrong, but I digress.
She got it.
I said two Spanish names, so I thought I was like all over the mastery of this language.
Oh yeah, no, you're Duolingo will be proud of you.
Those who can speak it. No, I'm joking. It was wonderful having you, and I wish you the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for
that great relationship. You definitely are one to watch when it comes to collaboration.
And I wish you was here with me so that you could meet the both of us. Because
well, there'll be another show, and you know what? I'll be doing a business show. Thursdays at 7 p.m. right here on Love Base. So maybe I'll have you two come and we do a part two. And
All
on the other
right.
side.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
why
much.
not?
Yes.
Have some fun.
Well, thank you, Cynthia, again for coming out. And thank you, Love Bay, for facilitating these community conversations. You know, here on Love Bay, Afro beats, talk, music, radio. I don't know if I said that right.
You're gonna
I'll
get it
figure
right,
it
girl.
out.
We all go through it. We all go through it. I think I must have called Love Babe about 50 different names before I got the whole thing. The
Love
whole
Bay
thing right.
Radio is what you need to
Yeah, but now it's
remember.
almost like I can't say. I have to say the whole thing. Love Babe after the talk radio, like that. It comes over time. It comes over time.
Absolutely. I will figure it out. Y'all pray for me.
Pray for your sis.
Yes, please. But we mentioned the olive branch of hope there with Cynthia just now. And so in our next segment, community come along. Let's go and look at a nonprofit's work and that we can highlight. So I'm going to share my screen with you. And that'll give you a chance to see more of the olive branch of hope that, you know, has been supporting women of African descent with breast cancer, living with and beyond breast cancer. It's important for us to recognize living with and beyond. Let's make sure we get the screen back up. Living with and beyond, because if you have, you know, stage 4 breast cancer, for example, many times, you know, that stays with you for some time, but sometimes we're able to cure it. And so, you know, we continue to live and embrace life and be vibrant. And so we want to spotlight the olive branch of hope for you every week here on Community Conversations. We're going to spotlight a nonprofit. If you would like your nonprofit to be a part of this segment, make sure to comment nonprofit below and we'll follow up with you. This organization has been doing great work in the community for over 20 years and continues to respond to the needs of women. They have done work. This is the website for the Canada branch of the organization. There's a Barbados branch. They have done trips to Jamaica. They have provided funding for women to be screened where screening is not accessible. So, you know, make sure that you are learning more about the nonprofits in our community. Come along, community. Let's make sure that we are supporting the good work that is here and available to us. There are tons of resources here for you. If you know someone who is in Canada, who is looking for help, because you're wondering if you might have breast cancer or you've just been diagnosed, or you're living well beyond those harder years going through treatment, then this is definitely a place for you to connect. And hey, come on in, volunteer, work with these amazing people who are here to support the community, whether or not you have lived experience, as long as you have passion and heart and care about women who are living with and beyond breast cancer and you are ready to support, then come on in. Let's get some work done together. Thank you so very much for helping me to share the screen so that we can promote the Olive Branch of Hope here on Community Come Along as we celebrate more good work that's being done out there. And now for more love. It's time for more love. Let's make sure that
I love this. The
yeah.
love just be pouring out today.
Yes, please. I can't see, so let me know if our screen is being shared and you can see. Fantastic. That Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio we just had last night. So that was December 7th. I don't know what day it is. We had our 3rd annual children's gift giving Christmas event where over 100 children were given gifts that were brought together by amazing people who have donated to support these children. but also coming directly from Love Bay. Love Bay has been doing some serious work in the community, and we don't toot our own horn enough. So toot toot, it's time to let people know that we are doing so much more than entertaining you. We're doing so much more than educating you. We are actually getting up and going out there into the world and spreading the love and bringing cheer. And you know what? If you think you know who Santa is, comment below and let me know who you think Santa might be.
I just fell in love with Santa. I'm not even a Christmas person, and Santa had me weak. He was doing the damn thing with the kids. No, it was a beautiful event. I was blessed to be there and be able to support and participate, and just to see the faces that came, and the parents. I think the parents had probably a better time than the kids. It was it was fun. Lots of laughs. There was a story telling component brought to by Strength in Hands, was Camille Henry, where she really engaged the kids in talking about. She was on the show in the past, so it was really good to see her in action. We had Christine doing some songs with the kids. Yeah, and our founders, they were in there. Petronella, Janice, Mr. T, they exemplified what it means to give back. They weren't sitting somewhere where their foot caught up. They were in there. They were doing everything that needed to be done, and it was a pleasant experience. And I got some of the society ladies out too. So the Empire by Design came through, and we this was our first CEO Connect with Community initiative, and my CEO showed up in fine form. And so, yeah, definitely can't wait for the 4th annual. If you are interested, now is the time to connect, get committed, start looking at what you can support, because we want to do it bigger and better next year. More kids, more impact, changing communities, just like how we do here each and every Sunday, 5 p.m. on Community Conversations with your host, Ms. J. Nadia Headley. And you will be having some of these real great conversations.
Absolutely. Miss J, before we close today, can you talk a little bit? We know how immediate it is to think about giving a gift to a child and what that means to the child. You mentioned that maybe the parents might have had a bit more fun than the kids. What's the impact of relieving a parent of the stress and the strain of providing a gift to their child that they may not be able to afford themselves? What does that impact look and feel like when you're at the event yourself and you're a part of handing those gifts out?
I think the biggest part is them being able to get access to it. Them being able to, because they had to take the steps. It wasn't like they just showed up out of nowhere. You had to look for, you had to register, you had to be prepared. And I think for a parent, a lot of times, it's not that they can't give their children the best of the world. It's the decisions they have to make because of economic times, right? I mean, do I go and buy gifts for my kids, or do I put food on the table? And we know in this economy, a lot of people are struggling, with the financial side of things, and it's no one's fault. And I think that's something that, there wasn't this aura of you're broke and bring your kids here. The aura that Love Bay really set out for this was around come and be part of a community, come be part of Love Bay's community. And you know what? Thank you for listening to us all year round. Thank you for doing things for us. And I think that's something that, I stand on when it comes to, being a CEO. A lot of people like the concept of being their own boss and out there selling their wares and collecting money, but there's always a time where you got to give back. And Love Bay has that. They understand the concept of, not just, and Petronella, bless her heart, I loved her message. She said, listen, we're going to get these kids back into things outside of the digital. And that was amazing, because they were able to, when they opened it, they were playing with things. That instead of just this, even some of the kids who had this in front of them for some of the time, they got a gift and they stopped and they literally played with it. Yeah. So I think for a parent, it's the ability to not just to give their child access to resources. And that's something that we do well in Canada. We have a lot of resources, and we don't sometimes access them well. Right. And so, these parents had an opportunity to come, form community. They are the Love Bay community. There was not a dry face in there. Everybody was smiling, and it was a great energy. It was a great energy. So yeah, it's not always about the giving. The giving comes from us as companies, right? And it's just saying thank you. Thank
Absolutely.
you. Yeah.
Absolutely. So if you are listening to the #1 African Caribbean online radio and joining us here for community conversations, and you were a part of this amazing event, thank you for supporting us all throughout the year. And thank you for making a decision today about how you're going to up your support for next year. And so, I am really happy to have had the opportunity here to share this space with you, Miss J. Thank you for passing the baton. Thank you to the Love Bay community. And with that, my friends, I don't have a fancy slogan to sign off with. Maybe Miss J is going to give me some coaching in the background.
Well, here, you can take this one because it suits the show. Always remember, we want to thank you for showing up and being part of the conversation. To all the people who chimed in today, remember, change happens because of conversations just like this. So keep talking. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.